What's going on, fight fans? This is Combat Sports Now. Rich Quinones here. Don't forget to follow us on social media platforms at Combat Sports Now. We got a good one. Spartan Bare Knuckle Fight Club presents Spartan Wars 13 this Saturday, 3 p.m. our time in the States. So you can definitely check out the list of events on Combat Sports Now, and you can easily make the purchase as we speak. Christian Roberts, the promoter of the event, kind enough to join us for a couple moments on what I'm sure is going to be a very busy next couple of days, but appreciate a couple moments. And, you got to be excited about this, right? Because you guys put on some really entertaining fights. I mean, you blink and some of these fights go fast.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we are the smallest arena in combat sports right now by 8 foot by 8 foot. I mean, to put that into context to you, when they're stood in each corner, if the referee moves, they can touch hands. That's not a problem. And yeah, when that referee drops his hand and says, let's have it, it's be first, start fast or start last is the slogan, so.
What is that kind of the idea behind it, where you'll see, as opposed to an MMA cage or a trigon with bare knuckle or a ring, keep it close encounters, because no matter what, they're going to have to let their hands go, which means the fans, the audience, the viewing audience, they're going to be part of an exciting fight. No matter what, they're pretty much fighting in a phone booth. Not a lot of room to move around. Yeah,
man. When I've come up with the design, people have done the bales before us in the UK. With Andy Topliff used to do it, and Joe Brown started there, but they were all doing 16 by 16 or 20 by 20. I had a good look at it. That's not what people want to see. I mean, I've said it and I've said it again, that if I've got £100 in my right pocket and £100 in my left pocket, and in the right pocket you say you can go and watch a ring event, there'll be 15 fights. There could be a couple of draws, there'll be a couple of points, wins, and it's not for me. You come to Spartan and there's 15 fights on, there's 15 knockouts, and that's that. And that's what I believe people want to see.
I was looking at the card and I saw some notable names, and I just wanted to go down. Let's walk through a couple of these fights. Give me a fight or two that you're looking at right now that you think is going to have to be. I know you mentioned all these fights end pretty fast, but a good fight. I mean, I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, Buckle and Mason, is that featherweights?
That's featherweight, yeah. Yeah, again, it doesn't really matter with the weight categories when you think that the lighter guys can't knock each other out and stuff, but it doesn't have to be a KO. It can be an accumulation of punches, and damage, and it happens pretty quick, man. So, I think our record shows that we're on Spartan 13 this time. I think that'll be over 200 fights in the book, and I think only 4 have gone the distance. So, it's not out the question that some fights will go to distance, but when they do, you've seen 2 exceptionally tough fellas, so the fights that stand out here are the title fights are crazy. They're crazy. Some of these guys are born killers. And when you're putting 2 20-stone men in an 8 foot by 8 foot square with a referee,
right,
that doesn't leave much. So yeah, fights that stick out really. Phil Pell is fighting Ben Hatchett for the British featherweight title. Ben Hatchett over in the UK is a YouTube sensation. He's got thousands of followers, and he steps up and fights Pelly, who's only lost 1 fight from 6 in the pit. So,
and that was to Mason, right? That was to Mason.
That was to Jack Leslie McLean.
Oh, okay.
But Mason and Pelly have fought. Pelly come over on Mason that time. He beat Mason, but yeah, man, that's one of the fights that stands out. Ben Waddington and Gaz Slater, 2 20-stoners, fighting for the European heavyweight title. Ben already has the title. If he defends that, then we'll start looking at a world shot for him. Marty Barnes and Tom Pratt are in a cruiserweight eliminator.
Yep.
And whoever wins that will go on to face Callum Sadler for the world title. Again, both extremely tough dudes, both of them. Tom Pratt and Marty Barnes, both tough dudes.
Did Barnes fight Jason? What was it, Jason Gates?
Yeah, he did fight Gates. Yes, yeah. That was his first ever fight in the pit.
Wow. So let me ask you a question. So now, correct me if I'm wrong here. I was reading up on that featherweight affair, Mason and Buckle. Was George an apprentice jockey?
Did he have he was, yeah.
I think he had a background, yeah, and I think he actually wanted to take up. He's got a boxing background from what I saw, because he was trying to help raise money for Frank Bruno's foundation a while back, to fight depression and whatnot. So I'm pretty sure he was an apprentice jockey. I think it's unique, some of the backgrounds of some of these guys, right?
Yeah, and I mean the thing is with us as well, and what people don't understand is you don't have to have been an ex-UFC fighter. You don't have to have been an ex-boxer. You don't have to. We're helping real people on the street, man. And you know, we're taking these people who are ex-addicts, who are, you know, homeless people or whatever. We're helping them, man. And we've started a company within our company called SAFE. Now that stands for Safeguarding All Fighters' Eventualities. And what we do through that company is we help fighters with depression, homelessness, all the other stuff. You know, we take care of them inside the pit and outside the pit as well. And I believe we're the only company in the world that's doing that right now.
Yeah, that's really pretty remarkable when you think about it, because even in the States, right? I mean, think about it. You know, you take MMA, you take boxing, you take all these federations, right? Especially in boxing, it's mano a mano. Insurance wise, you got to cover your own, right? It's out of your pocket, so to speak. There's really not networks that can sit there and say, hey, we'll take you on. A lot of these fighters, now you're starting to see with social media, some of them, it's too much for them, right? So what do? They have to take some time off. They're fighting depression. They're fighting anxiety. So you guys, I like that the title of it's safe, because you're basically telling them, hey, man, you are in a safe spot, right? You're in a safe place. We're here to help you. How has this been received from the fans and local and the community and whatnot?
Yeah, the fans love what we do for the fighters. You know, it's not just that; it's the fighters themselves as well. You know, most promoters, when they've used a fighter on a show and that, once the show's over, you know,
that's it.
Hey, you know, not us. You know, I'm not blowing my own trumpet because I'm sure other promoters do the same. But on the Monday morning after the show, I'm straight on that inbox on Facebook or on the phone to every single fighter on the card. You know, how have you come out of that? Are you okay? How's your mental health? How's your injuries? You know, how are you doing? You know, is there anything we can do for you? I think if you ask anybody or you do the research, I keep pride in this company on being a family. All right? And I don't believe there's anybody in the world that's closer family than we are. And I believe there's many companies in BKB that will say that. We've got this unwritten bond that, I mean, even just to give something to you that, you know, we thought the show was a sellout last week. So we were like, oh, brilliant. But then 6, 7 fighters have popped up this week and said, oh, there's a week to go and I've still got 8 tickets, I've got 9 tickets. The other fighters have sold their tickets and given them the money.
That's good.
You know, so, you know, we're all in this together, man. We're just one big family. We love putting fights on. We love putting fights on, like I say. And it's just ordinary people off the street who can train themselves to a level and make something of themselves. Don't go to jail. We've got guys who have been to jail all their lives for fighting. Now we've given them a sense of something they belong to, a routine. They can train, they can change their lives, they can stick to it. If you go on my wall, almost every day of the week, a fighter will write on my wall, Christian, you've saved my life, you turned my life. I haven't done anything. I've provided a platform and opened the door. You have to walk through it yourself. You know, so it's testament that so many people were helping, and you know, it just gives us a good buzz to help people. You
know, I'm wondering too, and again, Christian Roberts, kind enough to join us. Combat Sports Now with Q. Rich Quinones here. Spartan Bare Knuckle Fight Club presents Spartan Wars 13. That's slated for this Saturday, the 18th, 3 p.m. our time in the States. But all you have to do is go on to Combat Sports Now, click on the events page, see the tab, and you can order the event right now for $11.99. A lot of times when promoters or trainers or managers or even fighters work with other fighters, it's because they see a little bit of themselves in those that they're trying to help. You know, your background, did you fight? Were you involved in combat sports? Is that kind of the reasoning behind this? Or you just decided, hey man, I want to help some of these guys out?
Both. I've had a bit of a fighting career in that, which not on the level these boys are on. You know, some of these boys are killers, man. But I've had a troubled past. You know, I wasn't a very pleasant individual until 7 or 8 years ago. Which, you know, was highlighted on the True Crime podcast with Sean Atwood in the UK. You know, that
really,
you know, I've spoke openly about my past and the things I've done. But you know, when I started Spartan, to be dead truthful with you, it wasn't about helping fighters. It was, I got up one morning and two teenagers had stabbed themselves to death in a fight in a bus stop over in England. So knife crime's so bad, man. So I just wanted to do something, you know, and what we originally started was, we started out as a fight club and we reached out to people, and the treaty read something like this. If you've got beef with someone in your town and all communications are broke down, you're thinking of breaking the law, you know, don't attend a funeral, attend the gym, you know, don't go to jail, get paid,
Right.
you know, we'll put you in a controlled environment with professionals. You can bash each other to bits, shake hands, have a pint, walk away, and the beef's left in the pit. Now, that's how it was meant to have started. But it evolved from that into getting these troubled people in, and we started turning the lives around. And then my whole narrative changed, you know, and it was, we can help these people, man. We can stop them from going to jail. We can put a few quid in the pocket, you know. All they've got to do is alter their lives, change their lives for the better, stick to the routine, turn up and fight, like you say, and everything's good, man. And that's where it's come from there. And like I just touched on now, the buzz of helping people and see them turn their lives around means more to me than any amount of money.
No, it's a good way to look at it. And like I said, man, a lot of times, like, we're a product of our environment. So as we get older and we mature a little bit, and maybe we get humbled, we want to kind of, you know, help those along the way, right? When you get a little more older, you're not green, you've been around the block, so you can kind of see a young kid and you can say, you know what, I was you 15, 20 years ago, man. I know the path you're going down. Like, listen to the old man for a couple moments, right? And the tough part is, you know, having them the level of consistency, right? Because, you know, you can be so excited about something and want to get in shape and stop smoking, stop drinking, you know, stop getting in fights and really be concentrated on it. You get the fight out of your system, you feel good. And then 2 days later, you're back on the corner. So I'm, you know, that's probably got to be a challenge for you, right? Because if you said you're following up with these fighters, you want to, you know, you can't babysit grown men. After a while, they got to want to do it for themselves. But have you found that to be a little bit of a challenge where you've got that guy that says all the right things, you're looking him in the eye, you know, man to man, and you're like, all right, you're going to be okay. And then a week or two later, you find out, hey, they're running into trouble.
Well, here's a prime example for you that many won't know. Some do know because they were privy to what was going on. But I was actually working with Phil Baroni when Phil was arrested. I've been talking to Phil Baroni, must have been close 7 months. He was meant to come over and fight for us the summer before, but he had a bit of a meltdown. So we were working with him again, and I was personally talking to him through Instagram every other night, you know, and then, you know, he was starting to say the right things and he was doing the right things, and we were starting to sort out for him to come over and fight Darnell John, one of our fighters over here, for this summer coming. And then I got up one morning and, you know, read Google, and he'd been arrested for murdering his wife. So, you know, that's a prime example that he was telling me all the right things. I'm gonna stop drinking, you know, I'm gonna start doing this, I'm gonna start doing that. I want to come over and impress on your platform. You know, I stuck with him after the first meltdown because I believed he was reachable, you know, but like you say, you can't babysit them 24 hours a day.
Man, I mean, that's got to be rough, right? Because you're extending a hand, and then, you know, you think you're doing right by the person, and then something like that happened. I mean, man, just hearing that, I feel for you, because I'm sure you felt horrible.
I mean, I spoke to him 2 days before the news broke. I didn't know he'd gone to Mexico or wherever he was. I couldn't remember where he was now, but I didn't know he'd gone abroad. I'd spoke to him 2 nights before on Instagram and left him a couple of voice messages, and he'd liked the messages, and then he'd sent one back saying, I'll be in touch with you next week, and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, then, like I say, a couple of sleeps later, I woke up and it was all over Google, and I just thought, wow, you know, and I mean, I'm sure everyone has the circumstances, but yeah, man, it's disappointing, you know.
Yeah, no, I listen, I can understand, especially when it's coming from the heart. How are the crowds been? I saw a couple of fights and a couple of videos, man. They're it's like they're tailgating, like they're sitting there maybe at like a Nottingham or Manchester United game, right? Early at 11 o'clock, before everyone's on the pitch at 1 p.m., right? I mean, it seems like they're in it from the get-go.
Mate, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. You cannot hear yourself think. Which, like I say, going back to the family side of things that we've built, most of the fighters, none of them are too big for the fans. You know, before the fight start, the fighters are out with the fans, mingling in the crowd.
That's pretty cool.
It's like I had an outdoor festival in the summer, and I gave an interview on a podcast on the Monday after it. He said, "Could you describe your event?" I said, "It was like a violent version of Woodstock." You know, it's just crazy, man. There was people walking around smoking joints, just fucking crazy, man.
Smoking and joking, all relaxed, having a couple pops, right?
You know, I'm standing next to a policeman who's come to watch the event.
Yeah.
He's in uniform.
Yeah.
And a fan walks over and says, "You want some of this?" No, you're all right. but yeah, man. I will say this. I believe we've got the best fans in BKB. We're on Spartan Wars 13 now, and we've never had so much as an argument at one of our shows.
That's good. That's good. But because you know why? I guess there's that level of respect, and kind of everyone knows at the end of the day what the goal is here, right? I mean, it's different. I can only speak to, events in the States where I've called fights, where I've been at fights where, it's nonsense. There's issue with, sanctioning bodies and commissions and judges and score. Something like this it's last man standing, man. You blink and that's pretty much it. Now, how long were the rounds?
3 2-minute rounds for a normal fight and 5 2-minute rounds for a championship fight.
Will you guys ever, because there's been talk about this in the States, would you guys ever be open to females fighting?
We've had one female fight in the pit. Now, to explain this to you, again, we're the only company in the world that offers all 3 arenas under one roof. So we do Spartan Cage Wars, which is in a cage.
Yep.
We do Spartan Ring Wars, which is in the ring. And we do Spartan Wars, which is the hay bales. Now, it might be an unpopular opinion. It might be seen as sexist. But I'm experienced in pit fighting, man. I've seen over 300 fights on my own, well, near 300 fights on my own shows and other people's shows, yeah? Now, we've only had one women's fight in the pit. Now, I watched the fight. I could watch the fight. I sat and watched it from start to finish. It was a bit tough to watch because one of the girls was a bit better than the other one and spread her nose everywhere. It was brutal. But I did notice at the end and on the Monday after the show, I had quite a lot of inboxes of fans saying the pit is no place for women, man. The pit is no place, and we didn't enjoy it.
Too tight, too congested. You need the ring or the
cage. Don't get me wrong. I do support women's combat sports, 100%, 110%. I just personally think that the pit is no place for a woman.
Fair enough.
The cage or the ring, yes, but the pit is built for brutality, not silky skills. And, I'd rather see a woman showcasing skills than showcasing how brutal she can be.
Yeah.
And
we're seeing the transition too, especially in the States, with female fighters that have been in all areas of combat sports, whether it's Muay Thai, kickboxing, MMA, then they make the transition to boxing. Boxing, they make the transition to MMA. Are you open to, what if someone from the States or other countries, they want to turn around, they're like, you know what, we like this, whether it's in the cage, the ring, or the pit, I want to be a part of it just to get some bouts under my belt. Is there like a screening process? I mean, do you vet these fighters? Like I come to you, say right now, tomorrow, Christian, hey man, I want to get in the pit in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks. What's your, how does that work? The protocol?
Well, first I'd ask for your fight footage. I'd ask for your experience. Then I'd ask for your fight footage. And like everything else, I'll stream your fight footage. I'll see what level you're at. Then we'll get your credentials, your weight. When was the last time you fought? How fit are you? Because, you're only lying to yourself. So if you say to me, I'm at the gym 5 days a week, I'm super fit.
Yeah.
And then you turn up to the show and you're blowing out your ass after 30 seconds. Believe me now, the pit is a real bad place to be.
Yeah.
When you don't want to be there.
Yeah. Well, there's a difference between being conditioned and in shape. There's a big time, especially if you're a fighter, man. Muscle means nothing, but if you can go the distance and you got some good cardio, and that's
I've seen very high level boxers in gloves come into the pit and climb out after a minute and a half and say, "That's crazy, man. That is just stupidity." There is an element where you can use your skills in the pit, but it's a completely different skill set to a ring.
Yeah.
being able to spin the guy on the bales, that's a unique art. Being able to, because we can hold in the clinch and punch. As long as one of us is punching, we're going to leave it.
Yeah, you're not going to break them apart. Yeah,
no,
it's a different element because think about it. In the ring, you can use the ropes for momentum. In the cage, you can use that to actually get back up on your feet. You can use that to your advantage, right? But when you're talking about hay bales, I mean, there's not a lot of wiggle room over there, man.
No, and when you do lean on them as well, and the fighter leans on you, they're actually straw, so that sticks in your back.
Yeah,
that's not pleasant.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's not good. But we do encourage it. Does encourage more action because there's nothing to do when you lean on the bales. So,
don't forget this event is a Saturday. It's going to be 3 p.m. our time in the States. It's Spartan Bare Knuckle Fight Club presents Spartan Wars 13. Again, if you go on Combat Sports Now or follow them on Twitter at Combat Sports Now, you'll see the home, you'll see the events tab. Just click right on it. It's right there. You can order the event, $11.99. You can't beat that for some entertaining fights. As a promoter, what do you prefer, the cage, the ring, or the pit?
Well, it's got to be the pit for me because the pit came first. I had a choice of what I wanted to open Spartan to do. So, like I say, I had to sit down, I had to look at the ring companies. Now, although we've opened the ring company, starting out would have been with a ring company. I looked at the market. We're not going to catch David Feldman at the BKFC. He's too far ahead, and all the power to him, and all the success to him. I know how hard he works.
I worked with him years ago. I caught a lot of his fights back in the day. Yep, the boxing and the MMA when he was a promoter in Philadelphia. So he's really made a niche. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. I've been doing the job myself. I know exactly what it takes, and it's not easy, man. I'll tell you now, it's so difficult to get these shows off and running. But like I say, he's well in the lead. He's out there now, treading paths for us all to follow. So, and then you've got your BKBTM. I mean, I don't get on with the owners too well, but no one can deny what they've done with it. They've took it from what I had, which was the hay bales. They dropped the hay bales, went in the ring, and now they're at the O2 in London, and they're really doing it, man. So you can't knock that, And when I looked at the market, there's no way I'm catching them people. They've got 6-7 years on me. So then I looked at the hay bales and then decided to half the distance in them. I just think it's exciting, man. That's what I prefer.
It's pretty unique. It's pretty unique.
Yeah, you're getting everything that you get in a boxing match, i.e., flurries of punches, cuts, people get dropped, people get up, and it's all boiled down into 2 minutes.
Yeah. And it doesn't leave a lot of room, man, because like you said, you got the referee in there too. That's it. It's get out of my way.
Our referee has got one of the best chins at Spartan. Shout out to Dean Lister, who takes about 20 punches a show.
Got to get him on the insurance plan.
Yeah, that's the one, mate. Yeah.
Hey, like I said, don't forget everyone. It's Spartan Bare Knuckle Fight Club presents Spartan Wars 13. It's going to be a great event this Saturday. Again, you can do the pay-per-view purchase. Combat Sports Now. Rich Quinones here. Christian Roberts, kind enough to join us. So this takes up pretty much. This is a full-time gig for you, right? I mean, pretty much.
Yeah, it is now. It wasn't at first. I used to work a day job and do this, but now this has took over. I seem to be on my phone 24 hours a day. We've supplied fighters to Gromda in Poland. We're going to start working with the BKFC in England, just letting them have some fighters when they're free. I work with Bads of the Bone in England. Now we've got the ring, cage, and the pit. We're about to open another pit branch, which is called New Bloods. Now, that's going to be completely for new fighters. So that'll keep the talent coming through the door,
nice.
And we can see what's going on with that. The ring, we've got 2 ring branches at the moment, both waiting to have the first show. One's in June and one's in August. So once they've got one under the belt, so that'll be up and running. Yeah, man, the future's bright. We just want to help as many people as we can along the way and offer them all the different platforms under one roof, man. We think what we're doing is unique. So
yeah, that's how it should be. How many you mentioned a couple fights coming up down the road. In a perfect world, how many fights would you like to put on in a calendar year?
We would like to put on 24 shows per calendar year.
Wow.
Because in 2020, we'll open this year, we can get it finished and out. We're hoping to launch the app. So once the app's been launched, that will see it charge you £4.99 a month, and for the £4.99 a month, you get 2 shows a month.
That's not bad. That's not bad
decent.
at all. That's not bad at all. I mean, listen, and it's great too because the fighters, it's you're basically building your video library, right? That's your product, and it's easier to sell and market and distribute, and it gives the fighters a platform. All right, listen, before I let you get out of here, if anyone wanted more information, by the way, I didn't even ask you. You follow football over there, right? You a football fan?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah.
A little bit, or you're into the hay.
Listen, I played football at a very high standard.
Really? What position did you play?
Centre half. Well, I don't know whether you'll know centre half, but in the middle of defence at the back.
I played. I got you. I played forward, played midfield. Absolutely. What teams did you follow?
Well, my dad used to play for Manchester City.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was kind of, I played at a high level, but I couldn't stand it. I hate football. It's boring, but I was just naturally gifted at playing it. So I used to play it. But I never had the dedication. I had trials with a few teams and that professional teams, but, could have, would have, should have,
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, the pitches and the stadiums are just, I mean, it looks like God created them.
Yeah.
It's
good over there.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I would imagine so.
Do you follow soccer over there?
Yeah. Oh, I like how you said it. Of course, man. Absolutely. Premier League. I like all the leagues in Europe. World Cup. I follow Spain closely. USA. Absolutely. The level is just different in Europe. You know that. I mean, I think USA. They're getting there. We know the women were always ahead of the men, but you just kind of look at the World Cup that just passed, but the level of play, and that's why they're able, you take some of these players and you can throw millions and millions of dollars, right? The transfer rights to sign them. I mean, whether, it's whoever, it doesn't matter. The Messis of the world.
I know a few Americans have broke into the Premier League, like Brad Friedel, Harkness. Yep. There's been a few, hasn't there? Clint Dempsey had a bit of a stint with Fulham.
Yeah. Those were all marquee names, in the US, right? All marquee names, but it's just the European game. I have this conversation with my friends. It's like 3v3. It's like they're just playing around the cones. It's just touch, and then it creates space. And it's really, it's a thing of beauty to watch.
I mean, you can say we're better than you at football, but I don't think we beat you at baseball or hockey or basketball.
That's right. And if you bring the hay over here, I would venture to guess you guys have the advantage in that too. So,
well, I've been talking on and off to Ken Shamrock.
Nice.
So maybe in the future we'll have something there.
That would be interesting. Yeah, we might have to talk about some good states, some good market target research for you, where we know we can just stick hay around a nice field and you can make a day of it, right? That's pretty interesting. That sounds
we can
great.
Recreate the violent Woodstock.
But see, it's a little different here, though. If you walk up to the cop and you're showing them a little, a little joint or maybe a little drink, I don't know. It might not have that. That it might have a different effect. Where can everyone go for more information on the promotion, on the league itself, and if they wanted to get involved?
Okay, well, if you want to find us, we're on Instagram, Official Spartan Fight Club. We're on Facebook, Spartan Official Group on there. I'm Christian Roberts on Facebook. You can get to me. Just give me a follow and ask me the questions. We can get you there. Yeah, just find us anywhere on Facebook.
Perfect. Hey, Christian, appreciate you jumping on Combat Sports Now. Best of luck this Saturday, and I'm going to be tuning in. I'm sure the fights are going to be, fast and furious. I have my little hot toddy here while I'm watching the action.
18 live decapitations for our colonial cousins. Satisfaction. So make sure you tune in, guys, because I'm telling you straight up, you've not seen anything like this.
Yeah, and that event again this Saturday. Go to Combat Sports Now. Check out the events tab. Click right below. It's $11.99, and it's going to be action packed, as Christian said. Appreciate you jumping on Combat Sports Now, pal. We'll talk along the way.
Brilliant stuff. Thanks for having me, guys.
My pleasure.